They say karma never fails. But what if I told you that there comes a moment when it simply stops? Yes, there's a point where the lessons are complete. The patterns end and life begins to flow with an almost supernatural ease. It's not luck and it's not a miracle. It's awakened consciousness. It's the moment when the universe stops testing you and starts cooperating with your vibration. Maybe you've felt it before. The same situations that once hurt you now pass like a soft breeze. The people who used to keep you awake at night no longer hold any power over you. What used to be a battle turns into calm. That's the sign. Something inside you has evolved. Karma dissolves when consciousness learns to love what it once resisted. But how can you know if you've truly reached that point? How can you tell in real life that your karma has been paid and that you're ready to live in the lightness of a free soul? There are deep signs, and if you recognize them, you'll understand that what's happening in your life isn't confusion, it's liberation. It all begins with emotional resilience, that moment when external chaos no longer has the power to shake you. Before a single word could spark an inner fire, now awakened consciousness observes, understands, and doesn't react. That's the beginning of true spiritual strength. You don't become cold, you become wise. You learn to look at your emotions not as enemies, but as messengers of your own growth. When this awareness matures, something magical happens. Old habits begin to fade away without a fight. Temptation still appears, but it no longer finds fuel. You don't need to repress or feel guilty, because the desire loses meaning on its own. The fire dies because the soul no longer adds wood to it. The secret isn't in defeating your impulses, but in observing them with kindness. That's how karma dissolves. Without violence, without guilt. Only through the quiet light of clarity. And as that light grows stronger, old relationships start to change too. The bonds that once brought pain or attachment begin to fade. Consciousness understands that no one crosses our path by accident, and that even our wounds were teachers in disguise. Forgiveness comes naturally and resentment fades like a distant echo. To free someone isn't to forget, but to be grateful for the lesson. And when you truly give thanks, the bond releases without pain, and the soul breathes in peace. From that peace comes the end of the inner war. The mind, once divided between right and wrong, want and duty, finds its balance. You realize that the right answer isn't in the words, but in the silence that embraces them all. The noise of duality disappears. Spirituality reveals itself as a constant serenity, and the heart finally finds rest. When the ego grows silent, awakened consciousness speaks, and it speaks through silence. And it's in this state that true inner freedom begins to appear. Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want, it's about not needing anything to be at peace. The need for validation fades away. Praise and criticism lose their power. Your consciousness becomes self-sufficient, whole-free. You realize that happiness doesn't come from achievements but from the absence of dependence. The freer you are inside, the lighter life feels on the outside. It's at this point that the spirit begins to radiate a different energy. The energy of unconditional love. Unconditional love is the highest stage of consciousness evolution. It's when your heart expands and embraces even those who once hurt you, not out of weakness but out of understanding. To love without conditions is to recognize that every being acts according to their level of awareness. It's the soul saying, I understand, I accept, I let go. Compassion replaces judgment, and karma, in the face of this love, loses its meaning. You stop reacting and start understanding, and the simple act of understanding heals everything that once hurt. From this vibration, an awakened and silent presence is born. It's the stage where you no longer need to prove, teach, or convince anyone. Your energy speaks for you. Your calm is contagious. Your presence heals. Spirituality stops being a theory and becomes a natural state of being. The awakened person is like a garden. It doesn't try to stand out, yet everyone who passes by feels peace. Every gesture becomes a prayer. Every silence turns into healing. Simply existing becomes a quiet service to the world. And when this presence stabilizes, a silent joy emerges, the purest of all. It's happiness without a reason, gratitude without an object. It's the free soul celebrating its own awakening. You realize you don't need recognition, success, or witnesses to feel alive. Joy doesn't come from outside. It rises from the deep understanding that everything has fulfilled its purpose. Life, which once seemed like a battlefield, now reveals itself as a gift. And it's at this moment that the cycle of karma completes. There's no more struggle, pain, or repetition. Only a constant state of peace, a love that asks for nothing, and a joy that never ends. You finally understand that paradise isn't a distant place, it's a state of consciousness. Awakening isn't the end, it's the beginning of real life. And now that you understand what it truly means to have completed your karma, the question is, what will you do with this freedom? Because knowing is beautiful, but living consciously is revolutionary. The awakening of higher consciousness isn't a reward, it's a calling. To choose serenity when the world shouts, to answer with love when the ego provokes, and to act with purpose when routine tries to distract you. Look at your life honestly. Is there still something that holds you back? An emotion, a pattern, a memory that keeps repeating? Maybe that's your final lesson. Karma doesn't want to punish you, it wants to set you free. And when that happens, life changes its tone. Time slows down, the heart breathes, and the soul recognizes its own power. Allow yourself to live lightly. Observe your reactions, practice silence, and choose love even when it's hard. That's how the cycle ends, not by escaping, but by rising above. Spirituality isn't in the temple. It's in every simple gesture of your day. And if this message touched you, leave your comment below. Share what resonated most. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Here every week you'll find new signs of awakening consciousness and the liberation of karma.